Chapter 8 Afterword. A challenging question to ask people is, where do we find the words of the New Covenant? We all know where to find the words of the Old Covenant, in the Law of Moses, summed up in the Ten Commandments in Exodus chapter 20. But when it comes to the New Covenant, we somehow seem to forget that it also must consist of words. So where do we find the words of the New Covenant? The answer is in the words of Jesus, summed up in the Gospel of the Kingdom, and especially in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapters 5 to 7. For example, we noted the 6 antitheses where Jesus went beyond Moses in the Sermon on the Mount. That is, you have heard it said, but I say. And they include murder, hate, adultery, lust, divorce, oaths, lethal self-defense, love for enemies. We have seen that the Gospels clearly show that Jesus both taught and acted on the New Covenant words of what Paul later calls the law of Messiah, Galatians 6 verse 2, 1 Corinthians 9 verse 21. This is a different law from the law given at Sinai through Moses. Jesus was certainly not repeating Moses. As at the beginning of this book, I emphasize again that Jesus was absolutely not a sinner. Like his example of the priests who break the Sabbath and are innocent, Matthew 12 verse 5, Jesus himself was the perfectly innocent, sinless Lamb of God. The New Covenant came into effect with the ministry of Jesus and was officially ratified or sealed at the cross. Jesus testifies to this when he calls the New Covenant, quote, an agreement confirmed with my blood. Luke 22 verse 20. The ratification is like a signature on a document, and of course no one would sign a blank document, a covenant without words. To say that the New Covenant began only at the cross implies that Jesus did not practice what he preached. Yet Jesus is the mediator of the New Covenant, Hebrews 9:15 and Hebrews 12 verse 24. And his followers, including the Apostle Paul, became ministers of that same New Covenant, 2 Corinthians 3 verse 6. Paul wrote, imitate me as I imitate Messiah, 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1. Because Paul knew that Jesus himself practiced what he preached, and may we all do the same as true and faithful followers of our Messiah.